Thank you. Chairman Rhodes, I'd like to first direct your attention to a critical issue on Long Island that is American Water. American Water has failed the customers on Long Island who have seen skyrocketing bills, and in comparison to those receiving municipal water, sometimes down the block or in the next town, find it incomprehensible that the Public Service Commission approved rate hikes so high, especially without the information to let them know when a certain amount of water they're using will trigger a much higher rate. People are incredulous, they're dumbfounded, and they want to know how this could be, especially since in many cases the water is still brown, still causes lots of problems for them, and they're having a really difficult time with this company. Some have suggested municipalization, others want to know whether Liberty, the new company coming in, is going to do any better. But I would like to begin with you and to just ask whether the Public Service Commission, which you chair, wants to show an interest in providing relief and helping the customers on Long Island who are beleaguered by American Water.
Absolutely. That's our mission. We agree with you that the experience over the past couple of years has been not what it needs to be. And we've been working with the company to make things better. That said, the proposed acquisition that you mentioned of American Water's assets in New York by Liberty presents an opportunity for a reset. A transaction of that nature has to be approved by the Public Service Commission to go forward. The standard for us to say yes is it in the public interest? The parameters of what the public interest looks like are pretty clear from the facts that you know. They have to include better rates for customers. They have to include better engagement with customers, just the interaction with the utility. They have to include preservation of the conservation policy, which we know are important long term. And you mention information. Clearly, there's a need if we're going to have customers be able to manage their water bills and usage. They need an information infrastructure, advanced water metering, and we expect this transaction to be an opportunity to reset things in those directions. You mentioned municipalization. Should I go there for a minute, or?
Look, if you'd like, of course. I'm certainly heartened to hear that you want to be part of the solution in helping give people financial relief who have been, the victims of American water practices. So that's certainly good to hear.
Good. So on municipalization, we don't take a position on specific situations like this. We simply note that these are questions that come up from time to time. They're complicated, and the one thing we do urge is that there's a careful study of the costs and the benefits of such a move, and to the extent that there's whatever technical assistance that we can contribute, of course, we'll do that.
Okay, well, I look forward to working with you on this. The days of seniors receiving $250, $300 water bills who have fixed incomes needs to be behind us, and I'm heartened by your words today, and I'll hold you to it, and I look forward to working with you on this.
Thank you, sir.
I'd like to now turn to the issue of the Long Island Power Authority tax certiorari proceedings, especially with the community I represent, Island Park, with respect to the Barrett Power Plant. The deal that LIPA has on the table now, I think, would be devastating to the residents there. It would skyrocket their school taxes and leave their community in an extremely crippled position after having been exposed to this polluting fossil fuel plant for many decades. I can't imagine in a budget of our size, especially when we're talking about transitioning plants to a new green economy and with all the money going into that we can't do better and have LIPA want to help this community more, a community that is full of good people who are devastated by Sandy, a hardscrabble town where people are trying to get by. Tax increase of this size would be devastating, and we cannot just let it happen. As somebody who is, who oversees so much of this process, I think we cannot just write off these plants and these communities as something of a bygone era. We got to work together to help them, and with all the money in the budget and all the regulatory power you possess, I'd like to ask you to be part of a solution and help us move to a better place.
So, thanks. Again, this is a tough issue. I, like you, I think, see two issues here. One relates to the local tax funding and the future of that. That's one where we don't weigh in. It's a litigated matter, or it's in settlement now, and we're also not in a position to really weigh in on budget discussions. The second issue is one about solution finding, and particularly as it relates to, is there a future for the plant, which if I were in your constituents' shoes, I'd have some question marks about, where is that going? We know that part of the settlement under discussion is the creation of a community advisory board, if I have the name right. That is an obvious vehicle for dealing with just these kinds of issues. I can speak for my agency and, the good offices of the light, but to have them be part of the solution in trying to, come up with answers for that future. But maybe my colleague has something also to offer.
Sure. Well, thank you for raising these very good questions, Chairman Kaminsky. And, this is obviously a critically important issue in your district. I imagine other colleagues of yours have similar questions. And we believe that thinking thoroughly and proactively about the future of these facilities is a central part of the work we need to do in implementing the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act. As you know, Mr. Chairman, the law does create a just transition working group, for example, so that communities, labor, workers, others have a direct seat at the table to participate in crafting solutions as we look forward to this energy transition that, again, will be impacting this facility in your district, but facilities across the state as well. Already, not waiting for that work to start, in this year's State of the State address, Governor Cuomo directed NYSERDA to make available direct grant assistance to communities that are grappling with trying to understand reuse options and what can be the future of these facilities. I know in the case of Barrett, there have been discussions about potentially energy storage or offshore wind injection, and we believe those are issues we really should get to the bottom of, and we should be looking for every opportunity as we go through this transition to find those types of solutions where we can seek to repower facilities with renewable energy where possible, but in any event where it may not be possible, to work directly with the communities and the impacted workers to help them understand their options and think about the future.
Okay. I think it's important that nobody gets left behind, and I have tremendous concerns of what the settlement would do to Island Park, and I think this budget, the next few months we should use as an opportunity to address that, and I appreciate your willingness to work with me on that. To Ms. Barton, a question about anaerobic digesters and whether the energy they create can be or whether you're amenable to discussing whether that could be included in the CLCPA going forward. I think it was an omission that should be addressed in light of our wanting to use that form of energy going forward. But if it's left out, it's obviously not going to send the signals it needs to develop that. And I was wondering what you thought about that.
Yeah, thank you for raising that important issue as well. I think one thing that is absolutely clear is that with the level of ambition under the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, we need to be open-minded about a wide range of solutions. And NYSERDA has historically supported anaerobic digestion facilities and believes that there is a lot of ability for that technology and those projects to contribute to the state's climate goals. So we would absolutely be open to discussing those issues with you. Again, obviously that would involve the houses and the executive coming together, but from our perspective, we're very open to that conversation.
Okay. Thank you very much.